There is no gainsaying that television is a powerful medium for information, education, and entertainment. Since Nollywood made its entry, the television industry has become the best companion for many Nigerian families. There's so much talk about Nollywood, even though this is your program, Biotechnology in Focus. I guess you're wondering, where lies the relationship between the two? Well, in the course of the program, you'll get to know. I am Ifeanyi Okafor. Welcome to Biotechnology in Focus. Some years back, a team of journalists, film directors, and a Nollywood star, as well as experts of various professions, left the shores of Nigeria to the USA. Their mission was to learn more and to offer their professional skills to the development of biotechnology, not only here in Nigeria, but also as a continental campaign. Let's see clips of that mission to the USA. Over 75% of farms in the United States of America use biotechnology in crop cultivation. Experts explain that biotechnology has made farming much more easier and lucrative. Research shows the genetic engineering process, which could transform a single cell to a full plant through a four-step process of discovery, transformation, regeneration, plant breeding and testing.
We want to check that this plant is whether transgenic plant or not. We have, after we transfer to the plants into soil, we have to check we call the lip painting.
Although talks are ongoing between Nigeria and the United States on biotechnology application in agriculture, Nigeria targets to utilize this technology for massive cultivation of soybeans, sorghum, corn, cowpea, as well as cassava.
I'm at the stage now of doing field trials in Zaria, as well as in Burkina Faso. We're going to do jointly with Burkina Faso to show that these new cowpeas with biotechnology improvements, how they will perform in the field.
Experts in agronomy, microbiology and plant pathology are optimistic that proper application of biotechnology in agriculture would help boost current campaign on global food production. Memories that will continue to remain indelible in our minds, and believe me, the foundation upon which this program began. And of course, it will be the reference point for researches and application of biotechnology. Watch this.
There has been a lot of sensitization lately to get people to know about the technology. So I am not surprised when people ignorantly take sides in saying that maybe biotechnology is bad or good because they've not been well informed. But the Nigerian public are still learning about this technology, and I know they can take better and more informed decisions through sensitization by the appropriate agencies, because I know it has a lot of potentials. It has a lot of potentials, though it's not the silver bullet, but it has a lot of potentials which Nigerians should explore.
Well, there's a lot of conversation ongoing around it, which then forms the basis of the work that I do, because there are plans to commercialize GMO cowpea, GMO beet, cotton, and also newest rice. There's been a lot of resistance to that from some civil society groups. The political support for it appears to be there. The scientists are getting their jobs done, and the expectation is that sometime in the course of this year, worst case scenario last year, maybe the first batch of such crops will be ready for commercialization. The necessary regulatory framework has been put in place since the year 2011. Some amount of education is ongoing by various stakeholders about it to get the public informed about it, which appears to be what a lot more of that needs to be done. Seeing a situation of a lot more people being informed about the technology. And mainly that has been the conversation, that it's about time that the government, various civil society groups expand the kind of education that goes into this particular technology. And that appears to be the loophole in terms of what is not being done. And there are huge expectations when it comes to that government and other leaders need to do more in that regard.
Right now, the biotechnology is a new technology that just came some few years ago, and actually I have seen with a lot of travel that we have done to Brazil, to other countries, US and other things, we have seen that science, without science, the farmers cannot enjoy. Biotechnology is the only way to go. The only what I said in the last meeting we had is that without science, all the farmers in Nigeria cannot do well. And for that, we must embrace science. I take, for example, during the time when we are too young, there's what we call vaccine that they brought as a science, a new technology. A lot of people said, no, we cannot go with it. And today, what is happening? Those that said we cannot go with it are with a lot of diseases. And you see them, you know that they did not take that vaccine, but today everybody is taking it. So I just want every Nigerian to know that without science and technology, we are nowhere.
Biotechnology in Nigeria is actually coming up in the full force, because already we are seeing the impact of biotechnology in Nigeria. Actually, in the area of rice production, we can now see that most of our farmers in olden days hardly have attained a maximum yield production from their fields, which hardly give them up to 2 metric tons per hectare from 1 hectare. But with this coming of biotechnology, try to address most of these stresses, both biotic and abiotic. The yield potential is gradually increased, as from 1.5 to 6 metric tons now per hectare under good management practices. With this fast teeming population and coming of biotechnology now, we can now see that most of our poor resource farmers can have good food on their table under low income. The poor resource farmers too that doesn't have fertilizer to apply into their farm, with this modern biotechnology, try to address the nitrogen use efficiencies of most of these crops, creating drought tolerance crops that can withstand most of these stresses. With this biotechnology, I think all those issues are now being addressed. Advocacy is very, very important. From top down to our rural farmers. It's very, very important. Actually, people don't know much about what GMO is, even as a word. Talk less of talking about the technology behind the biotechnology. So, and if the awareness is not there, definitely people will have fear of what that product is coming. The way forward for biotechnology is to at least disseminate a lot of information. We have to carry out a proactive campaign to be sure that it is free, it has no any side effect, just the way people think that GMO products are. No, it is not so. It is environmentally friendly. I have conducted a trial, try to evaluate the genetically modified product alongside conventional plants. And to me, they look similar. You can hardly differentiate between the genetically modified plants and conventional plants.
First of all, before I go into labeling, I want us to get the fact that there is really nothing like genetically modified products. What we have is genetically modified plants that the plant material, like corn, is now made into a biscuit. So you will not call that biscuit genetically modified organism. It's a biscuit made from a genetically modified corn. So, these are some of the communication things we are talking about. We also we are already eating GMOs. We're not eating GMOs. You cannot call that biscuit a GMO. You will only refer that biscuit as a product from a genetically modified corn. So then in the Nigerian law, it's there in the law of the NMBA that's the National Biosafety Management Agency, that we must label these products. For that biscuit should have a label, it is from a GM corn. So my take on this is that these genetically modified products are already here to stay. We cannot say they are not there. And like I also said before, Nigeria as a global village cannot sideline itself from the global stuff. So we should really insist that any product, whether Nigerian based, foreign based, in the Nigerian market, in the Nigerian system, and that uses genetically modified materials, should be labeled. People should have a right. Is a fundamental human right to choose, and we should be able to choose between I want to take a genetically modified product and a non-GM product. So that's what I want to say. That the issues of labeling in which is enshrined in the NMBA Act, should be enforced. Yeah, and I trust the NMBA to enforce that.
Up next is our break, and the program continues shortly.
Did you know that genetically modified organisms, GMOs, are safe and do not pose any risk, hazard, or danger to human, animal, and the environment? Neither do they cause cancer, infertility, sterility, tumor, or any adversity. There is safe use of GMO drugs like insulin, vaccine, rapid diagnostic test kits for malaria, HIV, hepatitis, and so on. The safety of GMOs is certified by the World Health Organization, WHO, Food and Agricultural Organization, FAO, European Food Safety Authority, EFSA, the National Academies of Science globally, the Royal Society, UK, and over 110 prize Nobel laureates. GMOs are safe, effective, and certified by MBMA in Nigeria.
This message is brought to you by the Nigeria chapter of the Open Forum on Agricultural Biotechnology, OFAB, supported by the National Biotechnology Development Agency, NABDA.
Moving on, I may not be as handsome as my next guest in the next segment of the program, but I can assure you that I am as knowledgeable as he is, particularly in one of the areas of his endeavor, being a thespian myself. We spoke to Bob Manuel Udokwu on his interest in biotechnology.
Biotechnology and modern day food production processes go hand in hand. Whether you are into sciences or the arts or whatever field you are, one of the first needs of human being is shelter, food, and food is very critical to survival of man. So being a well-known face in Nollywood, a pioneer, award-winning actor, producer, director, doesn't remove the fact that to survive you must eat. So that's why one is interested in the talk about food and how Nigeria can be self-sufficient in food production. Well, Nigeria has a lot to learn, from America in terms of biotechnology. Self-sufficiency in food production is one of the keys to survival of any people, any nation. America, with its large population, America can be described as a continent on its own. For instance, flying from New York to Los Angeles is about 6 hours. That's how long it takes to fly from Lagos to Johannesburg, South Africa. That's about the same time it takes to fly from Lagos to Frankfurt, Germany. That's Europe, or Lagos to London. The same time. But America is very, very, very self-sufficient in food production. Food is very cheap there. What is the secret? The same way with a country like Israel. Although one can argue that Israel is a small country, but there are even smaller countries in Africa that cannot feed itself. So going on that biotech tour of America years back opened my eyes to a whole lot of things in terms of technological advancement in food production. And really, we as a country, we need to do more. Nigeria's land is blessed, very arable. Our conditions are right. So many fruits and vegetables and plants and crops, exotic in nature and even ordinary, grow in different parts of Nigeria naturally. Now, what happens when you enhance them with a little bit of scientific push? This is part of what I learned in being part of that tour, biotech tour of the United States of America a couple of years ago. We need to really seriously look into that to enhance our capacity in food production. We don't have any excuse to have people go to bed hungry in Nigeria. Government is making effort. You know, one can see a whole lot of things being said on television, and announcements about helping farmers, you know, to achieve more. But I think that a lot more needs to be done. The problem we have in Africa, especially in Nigeria, is when we make a single step forward, we begin to take adulation, we begin to congratulate ourselves. But something to do with food production has to be a continuous process to improve, because Nigeria is a very seriously growing population. That means we have more younger people, and younger people burn more energy, and therefore they consume more food. So we need to really do more. The federal government is trying as much as possible. I hear things about exportation of yams and some of our products. But can we call ourselves a self-sufficient country in food production vis-a-vis our population and the consumption that we make? There's also this aspect of wastage. We need to do something about preservation. We have plants and crops and fruits in seasons. Therefore, when it's season for oranges, for instance, you have superabundance of oranges and more than half of them go to waste. If it's mangoes or bananas or pears, the same thing. We need to think about how to preserve these things. Some countries of the world eat every fruit you can think of all year round, irrespective of season. And I think Nigeria has the capacity in terms of financial and human resources to do that. And so if I give the federal government a pass mark in making an effort for us to be self-sufficient in food production, I will also say that a lot more still needs to be done. Innovations are not easily acceptable to people. From the dawn of history, people resist change. But over time, people begin to see the benefits, and that's when they accept. So I think that it should be expected that Nigerians will be suspicious about biotech foods, you know. But then check this. Some states in Nigeria, like Anambra State, where the governor has encouraged mechanized farming, mechanized agriculture, you find out that the Ministry of Agriculture is not a hidden thing. They give farmers improved seedlings and help them, and also things like fertilizer, so that they get increased yields. Therefore, we shouldn't run away from the fact that if embracing biotechnology in terms of our food production will enhance the capacity to produce more, we should be able to accept that wholeheartedly, so that our people will be well fed. I think that the future of biotechnology for Nigeria is bright, and we should be able to embrace it. Then we can also innovate with it to suit our own environment. Like they say, a hungry man is an angry man, you know, and the ripple effect is that instead of progression, there will be retrogression. Therefore, if we find a way of enhancing agricultural output in this country, and people know that it won't cost them an arm and a leg to feed 3 times a day, or even 2 good times a day, they will channel their energies towards something that will be productive, especially young people. You hardly see refuse dumps where food is dumped these days. That's because of the hardship that is in the country. But the first thing that we should aspire as a nation is to feed ourselves. If you are able to feed ourselves, we should be able to also accommodate other things that come with, human existence, shelter, good roads, water, infrastructure generally. So I think that the future of biotechnology for Nigeria is bright, and we should be able to embrace it. Then we can also innovate with it to suit our own environment. But again, it's also work in progress. You can't reinvent the wheel, but you can do so much with that technology which has already been invented. For instance, the cameras you're using today were not used 50 years ago. The microphones you're using today were not used 20 years ago. Is improvement in terms of technology. Today we talk about digitization. At some point it was analog productions that we had all over the place. So you wouldn't say because of certain constraints you have to continue to be on the analog side of technology when digital technology is readily available and affordable all over the world. If you don't want to move with the world leaves you behind. And I don't think Nigeria should wait to be left behind. We have in so many aspects. We have. When you look at infrastructure and all that, it's all part of a growing process. But then we should be able to at least be able to feed ourselves very well. If you have a nation that is well fed, especially the young people, they will be able to utilize that youthful energy to move the country forward in every engagement that they find themselves in. So the government is trying, but it's one thing to aspire to do something, and then a different thing for the willpower to be there to achieve the desired success.
I sincerely hope you were entertained a whole lot on the program. And who's next as guests when we come your way another day? Your guess is as good as mine. Thanks for watching and have a great time.